Hey y'all, hey, it's Patty from Giddy Things. I'm gonna get the cartoon eyes of my glasses out of the situation, woo woo, and take them off, which means my eyes will wander all over the place, but it's better than cartoon eyes, right? We're not gonna have this issue really for much longer because we're working on the studio. And with that having been said, in the video most recent to this one, and I apologize if my voice is a little rough, I got back into lecturing with class this morning from a week of not having done as much of that. And so for some reason that with the great pollination of the South has created a husky kind of voice, but maybe, I don't know, maybe it's enjoyable. So with our new studio that we're making, as I shared in the most recent video, and if you're new here, hi, we have 101 community members. I'm so excited. I appreciate each of you so much, and I love you so much. I'm so excited to build a community together. Yay! Tell your friends. Well, unless you want a space without your friends. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that really literally, but sometimes we want a space with just, I don't know, to not to be too dependent on the Cheers theme song from the show if you ever watched that, but I'm going to change it a little bit. Sometimes you want to go where nobody knows your name, but they're always glad you came. I think that's fantastic. So, regardless, if you feel like sharing, share. I went off on a tangent, but that's not unusual if you've been watching the videos for a while. There's usually some kind of outline though, and I'll go back to that outline and get back on topic. The studio, we don't really have a topic, do we? No, we don't. We don't have to have a topic because we're friends having a good time. But the loose topic was the colors for the studio. So here's how that's going to work. We're going to get paint chips. But I thought you could even help before we got paint chips. I'll show you what they look like in a variety of lights, and that'll give you an opportunity to choose. Because if you've watched another video or the one right before this, you know that with the studio that we're kind of building, it's in a room that we're not using as a bedroom anymore. I will be doing all the YouTube work in there. Not all of it, but some of it, the editing and a lot of this kind of filming. This is where I work right now. I'll work back there then. It'll be really cool. I've got several things for you to help me choose. But you're going to choose the paint color for the walls first, if you don't mind to help me with that. But to start that process of getting the paint chips, putting them on the wall, showing you the paint chips in different lights, and then you vote on them, and the one that gets the most votes is the one that goes up on the wall. It relieves me of having to make a decision about something that I want you to be happy with more than, anything. And so that'll be great. The disembodied voice will be very grateful for that as well. So we'll do that. But in the process of getting the paint chips and stuff, I'd like to know what you think are some good color families, tone or shade families to look at. So I did some research about what's good for rooms where you're going to do videos, and muted colors are usually the choice. One of the ones that absorbs light the best, obviously, is white. It's just a white wall, and that will be a choice. We'll have more than one kind of white in the mix. But also muted grays, muted blues, muted browns. I was really interested to see the range of colors. It's really kind of cool. So with that, we're going to try to keep in mind that a lot of what we do on the channel is about being cozy and relatable, and to a certain extent has a sort of vintage or time gone by, bygone era kind of feel about it, while at the same time being funky and up to date and with it. I don't know. But just keep kind of the feel of the channel in mind if you don't mind helping. And I will have that voting process come up. But first, I'd like to see in the comments below your suggestions for, and if you want to, it would be great if you would go online and look at some of the colors that are available. Y'all, I'm asking you to do a lot, but I really appreciate it. And the reward, and I hope it feels like a reward, will be that you get to, when you're watching the videos, when you're being kind enough to share your time with us and you're watching the videos, that you'll see walls that are the color you'd like them to see, right? And we'll go into whatever we have to make sure that we're representing the shades of the colors, the tones of those colors, and hopefully we will get a lot of feedback about that and a lot of voting. I'll have some voting time parameters when it comes time for that. But for right now, with this video, if you would just not mind to go ahead, and even if it's just to give me some color ideas that you think would look nice, and I will and a little bit go back and kind of show you the room. It's sort of in process right now. There's boxes and things in it because we're moving things out and deciding where things go, but I'll show you the room. It's currently a bright yellow, which is a very pretty color, but it's just not the right choice for making videos. This room is the same color, isn't it? No, it's not. I don't have my glasses on. Y'all, I live here. What's the deal? I live here. Let's put the glasses back on. This room is kind of a mango color. Is that accurate, disembodied voice?
Yes.
Yes. So this is kind of a mango color behind me, and I like this color, but I think I'm not really thinking that the yellow tones work as well with the light, even though they're warm and pretty. I don't know. You tell me. I really want to know what you think about it. I also wanted to share with you a card that I'm sending to my high school friend. I was going to send her the colonoscopy card that we got at the pharmacy, at the local pharmacy. The one on the front, it says, she's all grown up and ready for her first colonoscopy. But I decided not to send that one because, and it's a little strange reason, but the inside of that card, I'm going to take that card and make a little decoration out of it and give it to someone. Maybe my doctor. I think that would be cute. Don't you think that would be cute? But on the inside it said, aren't birthdays a pain in the butt? And I thought it was blank inside. Birthdays are not a pain in the butt, and I cannot send a card with that in it. Birthdays are a privilege denied many, and so we're not going to put that on there. But I had this card. I forgot I had gotten this for her like a couple of years ago. I got two of them because I have more than one friend this would be good for. This is an allusion, not an illusion, but an allusion to something that she and I specifically loved in high school. We were best friends in high school. We're still very close now. We just live kind of far apart. And this is David Bowie. I hope y'all can see that really well. Do y'all recognize already what that's from? If you don't, I'm about to tell you about something you may never have heard of before. So letting you get a good look at that. And that says, dance, magic, dance. It's your birthday. Dance, magic, dance. And it's, I can just write her a little letter on the inside. And specifically, I'm going to write her a note about the memory that this evokes. This is David Bowie as Jareth in a film. It's got a nice little brown paper envelope in a film called Labyrinth. Have any of y'all seen Labyrinth? And I like this. I bought this off the Moo. I found it on the Moo. If you know, you know. The Moo rhymes with moo. Or for some people, moo. But I got that there because I thought it was so fun. And she and I watched Labyrinth several times in the 80s when we were in high school. We watched it several times. And I'm not sure. Y'all don't tell nobody. She'll have to corroborate this for me. I know one time we skipped school. Don't do this at home, okay? Don't skip school. We only did it like once. And the day that we did that, we watched The Price is Right. And I almost gave us away because her stepmother, I don't think her dad and her stepmother were married yet, but her stepmother came to her dad's house where we were because she lived with her mom sometimes and with her dad. Sometimes they had a joint custody. And we had been saying to each other because of The Price is Right, we'd been saying all day long, a new car. Because you know how if you've watched The Price is Right, you know that if you win the ultimate prize, which is usually, if it's not cash, it's a new car, the way that they used to say it, the announcer would say, a new car. I know I've already done that. And so we'd been saying that to each other. And I accidentally slipped and said it in front of her stepmother, so we almost got ourselves caught. But we were pretty feral kids. We kind of raised ourselves once we got to high school. I mean, I had a job, had a car, all those things. And so we just decided that day we didn't want to be in school. It was the only day we did that. But I don't know if we watched Labyrinth that day too. I think we might have watched that several nights during our high school careers that we watched Labyrinth. We also did that with the John Hughes films like 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, Pretty in Pink, Some Kind of Wonderful. That's a one that's lesser known film by John Hughes from the set of like Molly Ringwald type movies. She's not in Some Kind of Wonderful, but it's a great film. It just didn't get released at the right time, so it didn't do as well as it should. But it was Mary Stuart Masterson and Eric Stoltz led that. but there were some people who became famous later. And if you like the show The Blacklist, you may not. It's a really good show. But James Spader is in Pretty in Pink. He is the bad guy, but he's a high school student who smokes in the hallways and wears linen suits and looks about 25 years old. So it's really interesting. If you like those films, maybe that'll bring back some nostalgia. If you've never watched them, you might like them. And they kind of defined a certain era of teen experience in the 1980s, particularly when there was the new British invasion. The original British invasion is associated with the Beatles and stuff, meaning the music that came over. But the second British invasion were things like Spandau Ballet was big, and that shows up in the movie 16 Candles. You know, so true, funny how it seems. You're that one. So yeah, fun. And this was really big at the time too. It was a Jim Henson type thing, and David Bowie was in it as Jareth, and I think Jennifer Connelly played the young woman who's kind of the protagonist of the film. And so it's dance, magic, dance, magic, dance, magic, dance. It's cool. I liked it a lot. And she will get a kick out of that. And sometimes when you get cards from the Moo Moo, people haven't seen them as often, and so it's a bigger surprise. So that will be going off to her. I do have a current address. She was in Colorado, but now she's in Texas. Again, because she was in Texas before, and she's a nurse practitioner doing really well and happy in her life. And we've kept in touch over the years because, to be quite honest, we were in each other's hip pockets. Y'all have that expression, being in each other's hip pockets. When we were kids, we were always together. And so even though we've moved far apart, we still share a lot of love and friendship. And, you know, if we do see each other, we tend to turn into teenagers again. But teenagers with I think we were fairly responsible. I mean, we did skip school that time. We were actually, it was so funny because we were walking up, there was a hill, and we were walking up, running up that hill. So I went all Kate Bush for a second. If you know, you know, right? IYK, YK. But that's a Stranger Things allusion to a song that goes way back to then, and we liked it then too, it's called Running Up That Hill, isn't it? Disembodied Voice. Yes, by Kate Bush, and she's awesome. If you've never heard her, listen to the song that she did with Peter Gabriel. Be in a good emotional place, though. The song is called Don't Give Up. Correct me if I'm wrong. Disembodied voice. Okay. Don't give up. It's so pretty. But again, be in a good emotional place. Or before you listen to that song, need a good cry. Because it's a song that can be a cry starter, as I like to call it, if you need a good cry. Because, you know, the tears that you cry when you're in emotional distress carry toxins out of your body. Tears that just happen with onions or something else that makes you yawning don't really carry the toxins out of your body. So it shows we need to cry. People need to cry. So if you need to cry, sometimes getting in a good warm shower, if you can, and just letting the tears flow can be really helpful. But don't give up. Peter Gabriel and Kate Bush, or Kate Bush and Peter Gabriel, who says which. But I think Peter Gabriel wrote it. I don't know. I'll pop it up on the screen. I think I can't see him, but I think the disembodied voice, is that correct? Disembodied voice, Peter Gabriel? Yeah, it's beautiful. So I will, again, pop that up on the screen. But we had so much fun. I have such great memories of high school. I wonder if you think people are having the same great memories now. I wonder, because we spent so much more time together. Like my friends and I, Dina, oh, I said her name, but I didn't say her last name. Dina and I, my best friend from high school, were together all the time. And then also I had other friends like Nona, who was a dear friend of mine. It's so funny because I'm 6 feet tall. Now I sit down most of the time, so it's kind of hard to tell because I have a high waist and a shorter torso and longer legs. But Nona was 4'10" and I was 6 feet tall, so there's a big difference. Dina and I looked so much alike that there were many people who thought we were twins. We were friends, but twins. But you know, it's funny, we look back on the places we come from, and I realize now that a lot of us from the area I'm from look alike. It's just, and it's bound to be, right? Because that's the way the genetics are going to work out. But anyway, at any rate, high school was fun. Elementary school and middle school, not so much. There was more bullying at that point because I was a really eccentric kid. I know it's difficult for you to imagine. But I was a really eccentric kid and I didn't know how to fit in. But by the time I got to high school, when I was privileged to go to high school, my kind of weird was in some way attractive to people. I don't know what that was. was, but it's good because I couldn't be any other way. And it was just a kinder, gentler time. I wonder how y'all feel about this, and maybe you'll share it in the comments. You know, I say this a lot to my own kids, and I say this a lot to people who grew up during the same time and stuff. Um, it seems like back then the bullies wouldn't go as far as they will now. Like there was a place where you stopped and it wasn't funny anymore. It got criminal. And now with the internet and all the things that kids have access to, and just people, grown-ups are the worst bullies of all, I think, in many cases, because they're the ones who teach the kids to do it in the first place by their own actions. But most people are sweet and kind. It's just that the people who aren't usually are louder and get more attention. But our bullies, there were certain things just weren't going to happen at school or on the bus. The bus was not fun, but there were certain things that just weren't going to happen. Now, I think a lot of the cap has come off of that, and that worries me for young people coming up now. I hear it from my students a lot that they agree with me, that they don't know what it was like to be back then, but from hearing me describe it, it sounds to them like it might have been a simpler time. I talked about the Depression era and how I was affected by that with my mom having grown up during the Depression, and it was actually positive for me. And I don't know that kids are having that kind of positive experience in many cases. I know lots of people who are, doing fine. But I think as a societal issue, childhood is a lot harder now than it was when I was a kid, and that breaks my heart because children should be cherished and children should have at least one adult who's completely invested in them. And I was blessed enough to have many adults who were completely invested in me, from my mom and my dad, my mom and my daddy, to my aunts and uncles, friends of my family, my teachers. Not all my teachers, but the teachers who taught me how to care for my students. People who taught me to find out who I am and to be comfortable with who I am, so that by the time I got to high school, I was perfectly fine with being by myself. I was self-sufficient and confident in myself enough to be who I am. And I hope that there are young people having that experience now. And if we can mentor them and change those experiences for them, if you have someone in whose life you could be invested, or maybe you already are, and making that kind of positive difference, my hat's off to you. I know you are, because I know that you are wonderful folks. Now, what you need to know is how loved you are, right? You are so loved. I love you. And so many people love you. And I'm going to reiterate, as I do sometimes in the videos, that you can be loved exactly as you are right now. You don't have to change anything about yourself to be loved. Right? But one of the most important things is also that you turn that love inward and love yourself and parent your inner child. And I hope you'll do that. I hope you'll come back to spend more time with your friends here at Giddy Things. And as always, let's go in peace and love to serve others. And please do pray for Ukraine.